Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tom Talk Stuff. I'm glad to be here. I'm Gleeman Tom, and today we're going to be discussing my favorite anime of 2016, Drifters. I loved this show. I actually tried to put up a review of it a few weeks earlier, maybe a week and a half ago, I guess. Unfortunately, what I put in there was a little bit copyrighted, and I'm okay with a third party claim that doesn't really allow me to monetize or doesn't allow me to get the full benefit personally of the video, but it actually was blocked in a way that nobody could view it. So I had to really redo this, rethink my options, and put new images in there. I actually had a bunch of GIFs that rotated, and I guess I had some copyrighted material in there. But I'm not really upset about it. I'm just happy I get to have another go. So, some basic info going in. Uh, Drifters started its serialization in 2009, written and illustrated by a man named Kota Hirano. Does that name sound a little bit familiar to you? It should if you enjoy Hellsing, because he is the same creator. And I can say this quite clearly, if you enjoyed Hellsing, you will probably enjoy Drifters. It's less automatic firearms and more, well, blunderbusses and swords. It's really good. So, also, if you're fans of Ultimate, Helsing Ultimate, if you liked the dialogue, if you liked the writing, then I have good news for you because the Drifters writers are the writers from Ultimate. I apologize if I say this incorrectly. Hideyuki Kurata and Yosuke Kuroda were the writers for Drifters, and I think they did an excellent job. It was a lot of fun to watch. So let's move on to the plot, shall we? Drifters is an alternate history fantasy. So what they do is they bring in warriors throughout history and throw them into this alternate parallel world full of, magic and demi-humans. There's two sides to this conflict. There is the eternally badass social worker, white collar Murasaka. Murasaka, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong too. He's really cool. Basically, these warriors are half dead and trying to make their way through, and suddenly they find themselves in a white hallway full of doors. Murasaka's there with a take a number thing at his desk, and he just sends them through where they need to go. So my understanding is that what we're seeing in Drifters is really only one of these doors. I mean, if this is only one of those conflicts, are there a conflict like this happening behind every single one of those doors? That's pretty heavy, man. So Murasaka doesn't go unchallenged. His opponent is a kind of gothic Lolita girl, Easy. So if Murasaka is the proper businessman, Japanese businessman here, Easy is the intern coming in with attitude, you know? And she's bringing in the opposition. Murasaka brings in drifters to fight. She brings in ends or off scourings. They basically have two leaders for these different fights. The Omnioji is kind of overlooking. I don't remember his name, but he's famous and he's been in a lot of different shows. The Omnioji is the kind of watching over the drifters and getting them together to fight the Black King, who is obviously a religious figure of some kind, and there's a lot of debate at who he actually is. Um, but I don't really want to get into that because if he is who a lot of people think he is, there's going to be a bit of backlash. But at the same time, most of the ends or the offscourings died religious deaths. There's Joan of Arc, who was burned. There's her buddy. I don't remember his name. The big guy with the sword. He was actually where the legend of Bluebeard came from. Um, I liked how in the anime he said that he heard that the maiden had fallen, that they killed her, and that she was in hell. So he was going to commit to evil so he could join her in hell. And there's kind of rumors that at least the real life version of him, well, he went after children. It wasn't very pleasant, but Well, the ends aren't pleasant. There's a guy from the Shinsengumi. There's what's his name? The Russian wizard, Rasputin. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're really kind of nasty. I've noticed that also the ends seem to have more magical abilities. They seem to have paranormal abilities, while the drifters don't. They go about innovation. They see things differently, and it's really well done and cool. I apologize for saying so often. I'm still kind of new to making these videos, and when I script it out, it sounds like I'm just reading a script. It's not very good. And I want this to be Thom talk stuff. So this means I'm going to be just talking to you. So I just make brief points on the computer and I talk about them. I don't have a written script anymore. So that sometimes leaves blanks in my memory. And I'm like, what was I going to say? Yes. So I'm really sorry about that. Next, we're going to move on to the characters. And I'm only going to really focus on the three mains here. So let's go on to that. First on that list of main characters is Toyohisa Shimazu, an accomplished samurai and battle leader from the 1600s. While taking the heads of his enemies may be his hobby, don't let that deter you from him being a good character. Toyohisa has a strong sense of justice and was raised in the midst of combat and war. And while it's part of the tradition of their family and clan to take the heads of their enemies, they bury them with honor. Toyohisa has a strong nobility and a sense of justice. He is a good character. He may be vicious at times and definitely badass, but he is not, anyway, a villain. How this part of him is actually why his comrades set him above them, making him the leader of the group. Toyohisa is a badass, and you root for him the whole way. Next up, we have Oda Nobunaga. Now, everybody has heard of Oda Nobunaga, one of the badasses and original unifiers of Japan. Nobunaga disappeared 20 years prior to Toyohisa. So Toyohisa was 10 when Nobunaga disappeared. But in the alternate world they're in, he's only been there for 6 months. Now, Oda Nobunaga he's done with the ruling. He sees Toyohisa as a proper replacement. He likes his sense of honor. He likes his sense of justice. And he vows he is going to make Toyohisa a king, and instead stays in an advisory and strategic capacity in the series, preferring to leave the dirtier stuff like enemy executions and, well, making the black powder to himself. Nobunaga is a badass. There is no getting around it. I think I've said that 3 times by now, but I can't get over it. All 3 of these characters have the awesomeness that is from Hirano's writing. I can't get over how enjoyable this series really was. Now, the last of the 3 is Nasu Yoichi. He almost said she again. He is 19 years old, but an archer of unbelievable skill. Now, while Nobunaga might have only been 20 years back in the past from Toyohisa's time, Nasu Yoichi is 400 years. Now, Yoichi is so good at archery that he actually beats out the elves in the series. He's usually used for more comedic effect than the other 2 characters, but when he gets into action, he is just as dangerous, just as frightening, and just as awesome to look at in the midst of battle. Now, these 3 characters lead the revolt of the series. They take the demi-humans that had been trampled down by the kingdom of Orte, who was also built by a drifter, by the way. He had a mustache right in the middle. They call him the Father. We know him as Hitler. So the series, the Kingdom of Orte has actually been around for a long time. I believe it was 50 or 70 years by the time the group show up, the main characters show up. And they've been oppressing the demi-humans, the elves, the dwarves. The elves were made into serfs. They were farmers not even allowed to hold bows or go into the forest anymore. The dwarves were locked in internment camps and forced to make the weapons for all of the Orte Empire. Actually, I believe the compound that the dwarves worked in, that when they go and get them, supplied like 1/3 or 1/2 of all of the armor and Orte and weapons. That's crazy, man. That's just crazy. So, I mean, there are so many characters to bring up in this show, so many people who leave an impression or are interesting to watch that I wish I could just sit and cover them more. In fact, I might make another video in the future, especially if commenters kind of ask me to, delving into more of the different characters of Drifters. Maybe a video about both the Drifters and the Ends, comparing them to their real life versions. But as the characters go, well, that's all I'm going to cover for now. Lastly, we go into the animation and sound of the series. So when it comes to the visuals of the Drifters anime, I have no complaints. Hood Studio Entertainment, I believe they're called, was in charge of the animation for this, and it was stunning, it was sharp, and it was very Hellsing-like. I mean, it kind of looked like you're watching Hellsing Ultimate, and it was very, very good. I especially enjoyed going from bloody to chibi, if you know what I mean. They would be kicking ass, taking names, cutting off heads, shooting arrows, and then suddenly they would turn to each other, and there would be a sudden drop in animation for the characters to comedic effect. You know, you saw this a lot in Hellsing Ultimate. There's even a kind of version of it in Get Backers and in Full Metal Alchemist. It's where the character's animation suddenly goes downhill so it can be played off very funny. And to me, it hits home perfectly. I loved it. If that was one of your favorite parts of Hellsing, if you're like, yeah, the badass action is great, but that comedy just hits home too. So it's a perfect package. Drifters will go just fine with you. You will enjoy it perfectly. Moving on to the music. Oh, the music. I remember a lot of people when they discuss Hellsing, they're like, Ultimate music was good, but it was nowhere as good as the Hellsing TV from back in 2002. And I've got a surprise for you here. There are two composers for the Drifters anime. There's, again, if I mispronounce the names, I'm really sorry. I really am. Um, Hayato Matsuo, who was the composer for Hellsing Ultimate, and Beck Yasui Ishii. Yasushi Ishii. I can't. I'm sorry. He was responsible for Hellsing TV, and his music was amazing. The two of them collaborated on here through all 12 tracks, and the OST for this show is outstanding. I mean, very good. The EP for this show, Vermilion, I have no complaints about it. It was a bit slower, it was really good, but the OP, the opening song, guys, I've been waiting for a show that could compete with Database from Log Horizon 2, or the second opening for Nanatsu no Taizai, for the Seven Deadly Sins. And this one does. Gospel of the Throttle is an amazing song. I watched most of Drifters in portions. I watched it in like 4 episodes, 4 episodes, 4 episodes. And I even rewatched the show in Simuldub, and I've never once skipped the opening to this song. It just doesn't need to be done. You just sit there and rock out and dance a little bit to the music. It's a great opening. It's funny. It's action packed. It's great. I have no problems. This is probably the best OP of the year, if you ask me. I haven't seen every anime they put out in 2016, but for me, there was not a single opening song that topped it. If you have an opening song you think did better, put it in the comments. By all means, share that stuff around. But for me, you can't beat it. And I'd seriously suggest you guys go to their YouTube page and listen to their music and support them because they're amazing. I think their band is Minutes Till Midnight, and it's just wonderful. to speak of the dub here shortly, I had watched all 12 episodes in sub, and I really enjoyed it. And then, while doing my due diligence for my original review of this series, I found out that Josh Greel is voicing Toyohisa, and I lost my mind. Josh Greel is perhaps my favorite Funimation voice actor of all time. He is funny, but he can also do action scenes. He is my absolute favorite. And I think you'll notice when I talk about anime on this channel that it will be heavy with Josh Greel. I plan on talking about Initial D eventually. Josh Greel. I watched Baka and Test a little while ago. Josh Greel. My favorite mecha is Lion Barrels of Iron. Josh Greel. He is one of my favorite voice actors. So when I heard he was in this show, I did something I had never done before. I bought a Funimation subscription because I just needed to hear this in dub. And it was okay. I'm not gonna lie, I had no complaints with anyone who voiced the three main characters. I don't remember who voiced Oda Nobunaga right now, but Josh Greel did Toyohisa wonderfully, and Justin Briner did Yoichi. And if you are a avid YouTube watcher, and you are a fan of TFS and you've watched something called Machina Abridged, guess what? You've heard him as Cloud Strife. That's right. Justin Briner was with TFS and he's done a crazy amount of stuff on Funimation right now. I mean, really support the guy because he's done so much. So I think that's about it. Going on with my final thoughts of the thing, this series was badass, and it ends with an announcement that a season 2 is coming. And while that's wonderful, I highly suggest they hold off because I was trying to read the manga while watching this, and I've realized we're very low on source material. I think this 12 episodes covers 4 of the 5 manga volumes that are out for this series. We need to wait a little while. That's why I was happy it said 20XX, because maybe they'll wait 2 or 3 years and we'll have plenty of source material and not need to throw in a hell of a lot of filler, you know? So, well, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We'll definitely be coming out with more content in the future. I really plan to be on this channel. Check out me on Twitter, Gleeman Thom. Also, follow me on Google Plus, Gleeman Thom again. I'm going to be doing a daily anime rating. I've got a bunch of stuff going on. So take care. Thanks for watching. And yeah, peace out, guys.